Welcome back to Haunted and Historic Australia for another episode in our Adventures series. In this episode, we take a look at the story of the first person interred in the Penrith General Cemetery, that being of little Doris Vivan. Now, Doris's story is actually quite an interesting one. It was different to the normal stories that you usually hear of families at this time. Doris was born on the 27th of July 1905 at the Royal Women's Hospital in Paddington. She was given to John Vivan and his wife Sarah Jane Vivan. They had moved to Kingswood recently when John was given the public school headmaster's position of Kingswood. Now, I say given, as John and Sarah were not the biological parents of Doris. That was actually Hilda, their daughter. Now, Hilda, being 15 years at the time, was living with her parents along with an older brother Hector, who was training to be a teacher, much like his father, as well as Sarah having a son born around this time. They'd been married in 1881 and had children together. But now, 15-year-old Hilda was unmarried, and she'd had a baby girl, Doris, and at this time, of course, it wasn't a natural thing to have a baby handed to a mother out of wedlock. So she was brought up by her grandparents or handed to her grandparents to raise. Now, Hilda did get married to an accountant by the name of Robert Redpath Spratt. That was quite a mouthful. At St. Stephen's Church, where most of the community had been buried up until this time. However, poor Doris, at the age of 5, contracts diphtheria, which is like a fever, and it takes her life. Although she was transferred to Nepean Cottage and was looked after by the best care that they could provide, she was unable to survive it, and she became the first person interred in the Penrith General Cemetery that had only just been created. On the 16th of August 1910, the children from the Kingswood Public School, where she had attended, headed the funeral procession. She was lovingly buried. Luckily, none of the other family members came down with the disease. Eventually, life went on as normal, but they always kept vigil at the cemetery for little Doris. And her story still lives on. In a row where Doris is buried are all the first people who were buried in the cemetery in 1910. There are many people who were buried in that year and the consecutive years following, and we decided we'd go along and have a little look at this area, the earliest of the burials at the cemetery. It's quite a large cemetery, and we will need to come back to do a thorough search of the other areas like the Catholic cemetery. But this was like the Anglican section that we were focusing on this trip. We were also approached by one of the Penrith City Council members who were tidying up the cemetery, and he had a lot to say about Doris and other places that we've ventured to and yet to venture to, and that'll come up on another episode. But it was a nice little cemetery, well, a nice big cemetery, and we do want to go back because it was quite busy and we didn't get a chance to really see as much as we wanted to. But we hope you enjoyed this story and the little snippet we took of the Anglican section. Okay, we're here at Penrith General Cemetery. And we are looking for the grave of Doris Vivan, who died at the age of 5. And hopefully I've already put up a little story about her and her family who came to the area, Kingswood area, as her father had taken on a job as the school headmaster. I just wanted to have a little look over this side. They did say that there are crows at the moment, so that's a bit dangerous. A little look down this side. Although these ones here don't look as old. And there's like a little building there. I'd say she's most likely in the old Anglican section. So I'll stick to that. It's a bit of a late introduction as there was a lot of council workers milling around. We didn't want to get in anyone's way. So this cemetery opened in 1910. There was a need for a general cemetery in the Penrith area. We've been to the oldest cemeteries being in the area being Castlereagh. Now that was the oldest town around here. Apologies, I hope you can see enough here. Of course it's a sunny day and I have the flu, which is always fun. With the change of a season, you can be sure I'll get the flu. So actually, I just want to go back to this one here. Linda Charlotte. She was buried here in 1912, aged 4 months. I hope you can see that. Now the cemetery was opened in 1910, so that was only 2 years after it opened. I'm looking for Vivian. Now this young girl was 4 months old. Vivian was the first interred here at the age of 5, I believe. So I definitely want to check her out. And apparently she's well marked here. She's got an older grave, but it's got a little plaque on there as the original wording must have been worn off. And we've got a couple of amazing looking stones here, 1912, so it does look as though this is quite old here. Succulents growing in graves, crothers. I've got Mitch doing the other end, as this cemetery is massive. I mean, it may even be one that we have to come back to because there's a Catholic section here that's probably just as old as the Anglican, Church of England areas. And we're just doing the Anglican now because it's massive. And it does take a while, and when you're walking around filming a cemetery, you kind of get the attention of people, especially the council workers and others mourning and things like that. There's some people down the bottom there, so I don't want to really make it look as though I'm disrespecting the place. I'll just come over here. I'd really like to find Doris's grave. Now it does look like this is more of a current one just here. Hope that's filming okay. There's Lamberts who were in the war. I do want to come over the back here because it's possible. Wow, look at the succulents. That Doris may have been one of the first. And I found her just here. Dear little Doris in 1910. Wow, age 5. So this is the grave of Doris Vivan. I hope you can see that. 16th of August 1910. Up to stuff. Yeah. 27th of the 7th. So she's just turned 10 basically. A month before. Well, not even a month before really. And, sorry, I hope that it's very hard to see when you've got the sun. But we've got a couple of others. 1910 Ellen Freeman and Price 1910. So these are the earliest graves here. 1910. a little bit of filming while we're walking around. Yeah, that's good. I got a lot of the oldest ones. Goes up. Yeah.
Aussie made.